This is Mark Strassman, reporter with Etopia Media's California Politics Today. We're about to speak to Tim McCallion, who's the president of Verizon's Pacific region. Welcome to Etopia Media's California Politics Today.
Thank you very much, Mark. Happy to be here.
What's included in Verizon's Pacific region that you're the president of?
Well, our Pacific region includes California, Arizona, Nevada. I also have responsibilities for Hawaii and Utah and a few other states.
And is that just Verizon landlines, or does that also include Verizon wireless services?
Well, I have responsibility for Verizon's corporate interest in those states. Generally, my day-to-day responsibilities deal with the landline business. Verizon Wireless is a separate company, but a separate company that is primarily owned by Verizon.
Okay. Mainly we're going to be talking about AB 2987 that's now pending in the California legislature. How close to your ideal of a regulatory system does AB 2987 institute? Should it be passed in its present form?
Well, I think Speaker Nunes and his staff did a very good job in developing AB 2987. It certainly furthers consumer choice for cable TV services.
What can you say about the role that Verizon played in writing that legislation, if any?
Well, Verizon had a significant role in starting the debate which led to AB 2987. Over the past couple of years, Verizon has proposed relatively modest reform to current video laws in California to the legislature. As a result of that, Assemblyman Levine created a working group last year that talked through a lot of the issues related to reforming the outdated franchise laws. And I believe a lot of the input that was created by that working group is reflected in the bill itself.
Okay. What are you and Verizon doing to help pass the bill?
Well, what we are doing is we're explaining the bill to the public and the advantages of having choice for cable TV providers and the lower prices and higher service quality that'll bring and the innovation that that'll bring. In addition to that, we are beginning to spend time with legislators, helping familiarize themselves with the bill. And most importantly, we're actually making investments today in California in this modern fiber-based network infrastructure. So we are putting our dollars where our mouth is, so to speak, in actually making the investment in this advanced network.
An advertising slogan that I saw in some of the collateral materials said, "More choice, better TV." Talk about both parts of that.
Certainly. Today, the cable TV business is dominated by the incumbent cable company. There is a choice if people want to go to satellite. As we enter into the marketplace, consumers will have another wired choice for cable TV, and we think a better choice with a very diverse channel lineup, with the most number of high-definition channels that are available today, with an extensive library of video on demand services. So we think we are bringing a great choice to consumers who will vote by choosing us to be their cable TV provider. As
part of that educational process, could you enumerate the main provisions of AB 2987?
Certainly. One of the major provisions of AB 2987 is the provision of a state-issued franchise, so that when new market entrants want to go into the video business, they will be able to apply with a state agency to be able to enter the marketplace. I liken that to competitors coming into the telephone business. If a new company, such as a cable company or others, want to come into the telephone business, they make an application with the state agency, in that case the Public Utilities Commission, for a certificate to be able to provide telephone service. We want to be able to provide consumer choices quickly in the cable TV market through a similar process.
Okay. What's the relationship between Verizon and AT&T's work in support of AB 2987? Are you working together to do it?
Well, Verizon and AT&T have the same goal, which is to bring more choice, lower prices, and innovative service to consumers. the companies are using different technologies, which I think is very exciting. We'll see which one wins out in the marketplace. We believe Verizon's technology is superior, and we're making that investment.
Before we talk about the technologies, let's talk about the competition. Do Verizon and AT&T compete in any markets now, and how would AB 2987 affect their ability to compete against each other to provide the services that they offer?
Well, Verizon and AT&T compete very aggressively in a number of markets. For example, in our wireless businesses, there's a very significant overlap between AT&T's wireless company, Singular, and Verizon's Verizon Wireless entity. In addition to that, we compete significantly in the enterprise marketplace to serve government customers and large business customers. Both of us also have voice over the internet, or VoIP, product offerings that compete against each other. And more we are beginning to compete in the residential marketplace. But really what AB 2987 is about is bringing consumers a choice in video service providers.
Tell us about FiOS.
FiOS is the name for Verizon's service, fiber optic service, and we're very excited about this. Through this product, what we are doing is we're upgrading our telephone network, bringing fiber actually right up to a customer's premise. What that will allow is the highest internet access speeds that are available in the marketplace today, crystal clear voice service, and a full array of video services. We are already making that investment here in California.
What kind of speeds are you talking about delivering internet access to residences using FiOS?
Well, we go up today with our product to download speeds of 30 megabits, 5 megabits upload speeds, and we have an entry-level offer of 5 megabits, and there's also another offering of 10 megabits, so it's very significant speeds. But with the fiber optic network, as consumers demand more speed, we will be able to accelerate that as demand grows in the marketplace. The beauty of fiber to the premise, we are doing what we call future-proofing our network. We're building a network that if the demand is for 100 megabits of bandwidth in the future, we'll have a network that will be able to provide that.
Essentially by adding repeaters of a certain type that would allow faster and faster speeds.
By adding the electronics to push the light more quickly through the fiber.
Well, more of it rather than more quickly. It goes at a constant speed.
That's correct, Mark.
Could you compare the FiOS architecture with what AT&T is doing in the mostly similar space?
Well, I don't want to speak for AT&T,
Right.
but my understanding is what AT&T is doing is they're going fiber to the neighborhood, and then they're using a version of DSL to provide video services to customers' premise using the existing copper network. We are going further into our network all the way to the customer's premise with fiber optic cable. There's various advantages and disadvantages of each.
Say a little bit about that, the advantages and disadvantages of the two architectures?
Well, we think our architecture is the best architecture for the long run, but it will take us longer to build it. There's more investment involved in what we are doing because of having to deploy the fiber in each neighborhood. On the other hand, we believe that we'll be able to deliver more services, better services, and have more bandwidth available for future needs for customers. AT&T will be able to get to the marketplace probably more rapidly than what we are able to do because of their network architecture.
Okay. We've talked a little bit about the technology. I want to talk about the franchising process now, which is at the core of this whole issue. What's wrong with the existing system for cable franchising in California right now, as you see it?
What's wrong with the existing process is it denies consumers choice of video providers. on a quick basis. For example, Verizon has been negotiating with communities for 2 years, and last night we were just granted our 5th franchise. That's a very slow process considering the number of communities that we serve in this state. It would take years and years for us to be able to have enough franchises to provide consumers video choice, and at the end, it's consumers who are the losers because they don't have the choice and they don't have the new technology.
In the same way that the fiber goes deeper into the network, could you go a little deeper into the franchising process? What is it that makes the process take so long? Is it lack of negotiators from your side? Is it bureaucratic? Is it political? Why does it take so long?
Well, for anyone who's ever been involved in a contract negotiation and a detailed contract negotiation, the process itself just takes time. Even when you have parties who are motivated to come to a end result. Both parties generally have attorneys who are representing them, and they have negotiators who are representing them, somebody from the city, somebody from Verizon's perspective. So they need to meet and talk about the times they are going to meet. They need to exchange issues with each other. They need to work out definitions. They need to work out specific provisions.
And does this have to be done sort of on a handicrafts basis, city by city? Aren't there sort of general principles that can be established, and if not cookie cuttered, at least adapted to additional cities?
The problem is that no city just wants to accept what another city has negotiated. And in many cases, cities only deal with franchises on a periodic basis. They may have dealt with them in the past with their incumbent company, and now they're dealing with them years later with a new market entrant. So there's a level of expertise that has to be built up in the process, and a level of availability just in terms of the people who work for cities are very important people, very busy people, just like people who work for my company are. So scheduling and logistics are a big reason.
So you're simultaneously negotiating with cities and working to pass AB 2987, is that right?
Yes, we're doing whatever we can to bring consumers a video choice and the benefits of that video choice as quickly as possible.
Okay, and I want to talk about some of the reasons for that from the consumer point of view. Talk about how fast cable rates have gone up in comparison to other commodities in recent years.
Well, studies have shown that over the last 10 years, cable rates have gone up about 85%. That's a very significant increase. During that same time period, the rates for cellular telephone service have fallen dramatically. The rates for long-distance calling have fallen dramatically. So you can see that when competition is in a marketplace, it really does have an impact on what consumers pay. In addition, I will also say that if you look at what's happened in the marketplace, not only have rates come down, but quality and options for consumers have gone up where competition has been in the marketplace.
What do your projections tell you that competition would do to the price that people have to pay for video delivery services?
Well, we believe competition will cause the price to go down, but just as importantly, we think it will cause the quality to go up. Because when a company like Verizon comes into the marketplace, we're coming in with no customers. So we need to win those customers in the marketplace and incent customers to switch from their current providers, or if they don't have service, to sign up for us. The only way we can incent them to do that is through the quality and the price of the product that we offer them. And we believe we are bringing a superior product, a better value for customers to the marketplace.
Could you say something about the difference between telco culture and cable company culture as it affects all of these things we're talking about?
I'm not really sure, Mark, what you're asking about in the question. Clearly, after being in this industry for 30 years, I know we have a very strong service quality culture in our business. I also know we're very dedicated to the communities that we live in and the communities that we serve, and we demonstrate that each and every day by investing in the communities, by being there when there's fires and floods and earthquakes, by our philanthropic giving back to the communities. So Verizon and its predecessor companies have been there in the communities and are there in the communities and will be there.
Do you want to say anything specifically, a range at least, in terms of how far you think you'll have to create a lower price points for comparable services in order to get the market share that you're after?
Well, let me tell you what we do offer. We have a package today in our service areas in California, which is expanded basic for $39.95, and actually that package is $34.95 if someone is a subscriber to a package of services from Verizon. We think that's an extremely good value for expanded basic service, and one that's very competitive with the offerings that are out there in the marketplace today. And we have a very good lineup of channels. We carry local channels. We carry virtually all of the nationally known broadcast channels that are available. And we have a number of channels such as CTV, which are not carried widely by other companies.
So you have no doubt that you'll be able to make money at a price point lower than what cable companies are charging now?
Well, we wouldn't be entering the business if we didn't think we were going to be successful in the business. But what we think we're bringing to consumers is a total value equation. Not only are we bringing them high-quality cable TV services, we're bringing them the fastest internet access speed that is available and high-quality voice service. So we think we're delivering a very good package to consumers, and the consumers will respond by buying that package.
Okay, here are two questions that are sort of two sides of the same coin in terms of the cost that this is going to changes that it'll make for customers. There was a study that showed that the longer the delay comes in establishing competition, the bigger outlay customers will have to make. Could you say something about that?
I'm not sure I entirely understand the question, but let me put it this way.
Right. The excess cost that consumers will have to pay under a regime with no competition versus how much less they'd pay with competition, and how that would amortize over several years depending on how long the process of setting the competition up takes.
Well, Bank of America recently released a study, and in that study that demonstrated that consumers today in California are paying higher prices because there is a lack of competition. I think it just stands to reason that when consumers have more choices, they're going to get better prices and also higher quality service. That's just the American way. That's just what happens in the marketplace.
Do you worry, or is it possible that a condition of duopoly competition would set up, and that after a while, after you've made your initial efforts to take customers from the cable companies, that some sort of homeostasis would be set up, and prices would maybe start going up again on both sides, both from cable and telcos, from Verizon?
Well, I think when consumers have choice, they're going to get the best value that is available to consumers. And I think in this area of communications, this area of transmitting information digitally, technology is going to continue to change and offer consumers more options in a more feature-rich environment. For example, we're starting to see a real development in consumers' opportunities to buy movies online, either for a single viewing or for multiple viewing. On a wireless basis, through Verizon Wireless Vcast, we're seeing consumers have the opportunity to actually download videos to their cell phones or other wireless type of devices. So I think technology is going to continue to bring more choice to consumers, We just want to be there now and provide that benefit to consumers now and not be delayed by outdated regulations.
Okay, you raised one of the next issues that I want to talk about. A 3G broadband access comes from Verizon Wireless. How does that fit into this picture? Will it be competing with the internet access provided by Fios, or complementing it, or how do you see that relationship?
Well, we're very proud of the investments that we've made in Verizon Wireless, the high-quality service that we provide, the lowest turnover in the industry, and we think that that is a complementary service for consumers. But does wireless compete with the wireline business? It certainly does, and that will continue to happen. And as technologies change, probably create more robust competition. But our broadband access service, EVDO is the technology, actually was developed by a California-based company, Qualcomm, and Verizon was the first company to extensively deploy that technology, and now consumers are seeing the benefits of that through VCast and other services that we offer.
Okay, I want to talk about some other competing technologies and get your take on whether they're going to be significant players here. One is municipal Wi-Fi. San Francisco has just agreed to work with Google and Earthlink to provide ubiquitous Wi-Fi, apparently at slow speeds for free and at higher speeds for a price. What do you see coming in the way of municipal Wi-Fi, and do you see that as competitive with your own efforts to compete with incumbent video providers?
I don't see municipal Wi-Fi as competitive today. Things may change in the future. I think it's disappointing that municipalities are spending resources to compete against private enterprises. I think that what we've done with our investment and what we're going to do when AB 2987 passes bodes very well for consumers, and I think we should let the marketplace work and not have government get involved to meet needs that are being met by private industry.
Okay, there's another technology that doesn't get much coverage, but occasionally suggested it might provide competition, is broadband over power lines. Do you see any of that on the horizon in the near future as a competitive source of either video distribution or internet access?
Well, certainly companies have been testing broadband over power lines. There's technological changes that are occurring, and I know there's also rule changes that are going on in California on the part of the Public Utilities Commission to set the framework for which power companies enter that business. I think that what happens in that particular business, that particular opportunity, will depend upon the value that they're able to deliver to consumers. And I think the jury's still out on the value equation that that product will bring to the marketplace.
Will they need to be subject to state-issued authorizations if they want to provide video services over power lines?
Well, if they could if a new market entrant could provide video service over power line, they would have the opportunity under AB 2987 to also apply for state-issued franchises. And I think that's an important point that you bring up, Mark, about this legislation, and this legislation is something that would apply to anyone who wanted to enter this business using a service that requires a franchise.
Okay, I wanted to talk briefly about two other technologies and how they fit in, and then more about the politics and administrative questions here. Voice over IP. Will Verizon be offering voice over IP in competition with its own voice service, or will its voice service become voice over IP with a Fios network?
Well, Verizon has an outstanding service today called VoiceWing, which is our voice over IP offering, and it is offered to all consumers. So it can be offered to existing Verizon customers if they choose to use that. It also can be offered to. It also is offered to customers of other telephone companies. So this isn't a future offering. We are doing that. We are doing that today.
Okay, tell people what IPTV is and how that differs from video distributed over Fios as a cable substitute?
To put it as simply as I possibly can, IPTV or Internet Protocol TV is television that is, or video signals that are delivered over the Internet. Today, with the way cable systems are designed, most channels are delivered to the consumers and then filtered out through the cable box that's provided to consumers. With IPTV, it'll be similar to get your video signal in a manner that is similar to going to a web page on the Internet. That is, through your remote control, you will be addressing the Internet and indicating what signal you want delivered to you.
Now, so essentially IPTV lets you access video programming from websites, is essentially what it does.
You could access programming from a variety of sources.
Right.
Websites would be one of them.
Right, meaning millions of websites rather than hundreds of channels of video. Would that be fair to say, that IPTV makes it possible for people to access millions of channels? Should the content providers set them up?
In its broadest sense, yes.
Okay, that leads to the issue of net neutrality, and I want you to define it as you see net neutrality, and then I'd like to talk about how that applies to what we just discussed in terms of millions of television channels and whether they would be as accessible to people over the Fios AB 2987 authorized networks as CBS, NBC, and Fox.
Well, net neutrality is something that is defined differently
Right.
by many people.
Right.
As I see net neutrality, to put it simply, it's the availability of consumers to make choices on what content that they want to receive over their broadband connection.
Right. The head of AT&T, Mr. Whitaker, said that he'd be nuts to let his pipes be used by Google and presumably the millions of websites offering video that I've just mentioned without charging for it extra. What's Verizon's position on that?
Well, our CEO, Mr. Seidenberg, has addressed that issue in numerous public statements, and I clearly agree with what he's indicated, which is that our broadband services are open to have consumers use whatever applications that they want to address.
Okay. One provision of AB 2987 says that when the cable franchise agreements between the cities and the cable companies expire, that the cable companies will be able to apply for the same kind of state-issued authorization that Verizon would be getting. That's correct, isn't it?
That's my understanding after reviewing.
Right. In Los Angeles, all the cable franchises expired in 2002, and they're sort of working on extensions now. Also, Adelphia is going out of business. Comcast is taking part of it. Time Warner is taking part of it. They're swapping some of their systems, and Time Warner will be providing 98% of the cable customers in Los Angeles with service after that is all finished. But those franchises expired in 2002. Do you expect, welcome, worry about, or welcome the ability of Time Warner to apply under the same franchise agreement that Verizon would want to use under AB 2987?
I think Time Warner, Verizon, you talked about companies providing broadband over power line. They should all have the same opportunities to get state-issued franchise. I think that would be very good for consumers.
Cities seem to be worried that they're going to lose out here. What kind of reassurance or not can you provide them to say that they shouldn't be afraid of AB 2987?
I think AB 2987 will be very good for cities. First off, it makes clear that franchise fees will continue to be paid to the cities. And after all, cities are made up of consumers, so if consumers have lower prices and more choices, consumers are going to win, and therefore cities are going to win. In addition to that, where Verizon is building in the cities are going to get the most modern infrastructure that is available to them, and I'm sure our competitors are going to respond in kind and upgrade their infrastructure so that we will have advanced infrastructure in the cities in California. In addition to that, there are technologies that are out there today, such as satellite, that don't pay franchise fees. So if AB 2987 passes and a consumer would choose my company, Verizon, as opposed to choosing a satellite company, that could enhance franchise fees to the cities. So I think the bill is very good news for the citizens of all of our communities.
Everyone favors a level playing field. What does the phrase level playing field mean to you, and how do you see AB 2987 instituting one?
Well, I think level playing field means that marketplaces should be open to new entrants coming into the marketplace. A very misconstrued notion of level playing field is that old antiquated rules should be applied to all new market entrants. That's not a level playing field. That's a barrier to competition.
So you want a newly level playing field, an up-to-date level playing field.
We need an up-to-date level playing field. For example, when a new entrant comes into the telephone business, they don't have all of the rules and all of the regulations that the incumbent telephone companies have. And that makes sense from a public policy standpoint because the environment has changed over the years. The rules need to be updated to reflect the new choices available to consumers.
There are complaints from some areas saying that that not all communities are going to be served as soon or as well. What's your response to that?
Well, I think if you just look at the history of the telephone companies, I can't speak for others, but if you look at history, for telephone companies, we have a long, long history of providing ubiquitous service and deploying our technologies as rapidly as possible. For example, with our DSL technology, we provide that service to almost 90% of our communities. That's low-income communities, middle-income communities, black communities, white communities. So we have a very diverse offering today. If you look at what we have done in terms of giving back to the communities through our philanthropical program, that also is extremely diverse. For example, over the past 5 years, we've averaged 75% of our philanthropic giving going to minority communities. So we have a long track record of serving all residences in our communities. And last and not least, it makes business sense to deploy our technology to those citizens who want to buy it. And what we find and what we've seen in study after study is that all citizens utilize video services.
We've got 30 seconds left. Tell us why the legislature should pass AB 2987.
The legislature should pass AB 2987 because it's good for consumers. It's good for the citizens of the state of California, and it's good for the economy.
Thanks very much for talking to us today on California Politics Today.
Thank you, Mark.